Nina's magic is more focused on recovery and support. Although it is level 2, forcing her to the front row is not a good strategy. In this team, if we abandon the support and recovery of the vanguard, the consequences will be very scary. The medicine for mental recovery has run out, and since she needs to go back, she must avoid placing a greater burden on Nina. Everything is going in the wrong direction. If it were simply to pass through the 12th floor, the third team should be able to do it easily. But if you want to defeat the dragon in the current environment, the difficulty will increase dramatically. If an adventurer with several years of experience enters the labyrinth, the consumption can be controlled, but it has only been 4 days since Iglan-san and the others entered the dungeon, so they are complete newbies. On the other hand, the students who are about to completely reach the higher level in just 4 days are really too good. But even at level 2, if they are not efficient enough, they will naturally be tortured by the dungeon itself. I carefully considered my words and expressed the above meaning gently, but they shouted at me, "Don't use hindsight." I'm sorry. Let's end today. We've run out of props. It will be dangerous to continue. The dragon will also appear on the 11th floor, but that place has become a fierce battle area for the battle. After hearing Nina's words, everyone from the third team who reached the 12th floor with the last ray of hope either had their faces twisted, or were silent, or were dejected. They did not refute and were about to agree to the proposal, but at this moment. "Nina, I'm sorry. Do you want to wait a little longer?" I apologized mentally and interrupted. "As for the third team, we can continue. This is my intuition. This is probably the only place. I'm almost exhausted now. Although it's not at the limit yet, it's still a state of being forced into a desperate situation. Only by seizing this opportunity can the third team change." Iglan-san and the others upgraded and reached level 2. They can more or less defeat abilities with strength. Because of this, they disdain group fighting and rely on individual strength to break through. Therefore, in the current situation where one can't rely on brute force, as long as they try out new methods, experience success after hard work and the surprising results, they will definitely gain something that can be used next time. Able to use it as a weapon. After all, they are all students of the school district. This should also be knowledge and wisdom. When I was in the depths with Miss Yu-Gi-Oh, I was in the deep with Miss Yu-Gi-Oh. Ryu, I had to use various means and ingenuity to become stronger, otherwise I wouldn't be able to survive. If I could reproduce it to a certain extent, a little bit of that experience would solve the problem. After being forced into a desperate situation, it's an opportunity to grow. I can't help but think that way now. But to be honest, "you can continue" is the most dangerous word in the dungeon. If it's this team, it's not an adventure, then it doesn't matter. I covered my eyes with my hand and said with a smile. Nina, classmate Iglan, classmate Reki, classmate Chris, everyone's eyes were wide open. Adventurers shouldn't take risks. I remembered Miss Ina's words and clearly told Nina and the others that they weren't in the realm of adventure yet. They had gotten here only through their own efforts. So if we can unite, the third team can go further. Absolutely. Professor Leon and the others probably knew about this, so they never disbanded the team. You said you can continue, what do you plan to do? So far, nothing is going well. Well, up until now, I've been observing everyone's movements, and then I also discovered something like combat. Same thing. For the past 4 days, I've been observing the third team from their position. I'm usually at the forefront. At most, sometimes I switch positions with Miss Mikoto and fall back to the center back, so the perspective from the rear of the team is very fresh. Because of that, I understand a lot of things. Like, it would be nice if there was this attack now. Like, if you turn over there, you can ease Chris-san's burden. And, what should I do if I'm in the vanguard now? In the process of thinking about various things, I gradually came to understand many things about the team members. I've probably never experienced this feeling in Hestia Familia. Even if I retreat to the guard position. Hestia Familia's cooperation is very skillful. Precisely because they were students who were still advancing, I noticed many things. You're joking. Who would trust a layman like you in combat? Who could bear it if he blew himself up here? However, Iglan-san, who was holding a sledgehammer in one hand, rejected me enthusiastically. There's no other way, it really is helpless. I've always been in command, but I haven't made any contributions to the team up until now. I haven't gained enough confidence to propose combat. This was entirely my mistake. If Lily were here, she would probably sigh and say, "You're still too young." Just when I was worried about what to do. No problem. Reki-san, who had been silent, said. "Fight, I'll listen." "You, what did you say?" The instructions for escaping just now were really good, better than the dwarves. Forcing someone to do something difficult, much better. Everyone was surprised. Classmate Iglan spoke, but classmate Reki said calmly through a black mask. Iglan-san suddenly shrank, and Chris, who had been looking back and forth between us, for some reason put his hands on his hips and puffed out his chest. "It's fine with me. After all, the rabbit's ears and tail are cute. It must be a good fight." There is no connection between the two, and the ears and tail are still disguised props, but for some reason, Chris also believed it. Just as I was surprised again, Nina, who was looking at me, kept looking at me, as if she was remembering the Lapi figure until now, and then slowly smiled. I also want to hear about Lapi-kun's battle. Except for me, 3 against 1. Seeing the results of the team vote, Iglan was truly speechless this time. He muttered for a moment, then seemed to give up and pointed his index finger at me. "If this is a boring battle, I won't listen to you. It really isn't easy for the team. I thought so after being supported by Lily and Welf until now. But since you've earned credit and trust, then you have to answer." Under my swaying bangs, I suppressed a smile, cursed, and shook my head. "So Lapi-kun, what should we do?" "Well, what we have to do isn't difficult." We naturally formed a circle and bowed together. After hearing Nina's question, I also organized my thoughts. Although I've only done this with Lily a few times, but... Would you like to try hunting? Use the terrain to your advantage. The first thing I learned from Miss Ina's lecture was this basic tactic. Now, Team 3 and I returned to this base. "Hey, is everything okay?" In the mist-shrouded corridor, I heard Iglan-san's growling voice and hid the words, probably, deep in my throat. Would it be better if I went there? But I need to make preparations here, and the level 1 supporter can't take on such an important task. Right now we can only rely on Nina and the others. Finally, God seemed to hear our prayers as we waited with bated breath, only to hear the continuous rumbling of the earth approaching the hull. The young dragon appeared with a rush to break through the entrance to the passage. The ones who rushed into the corridor before the dragon were the half-elf and the small human. Everyone, I caught it. As expected of me. Even bait is easy to handle. As they said, Nina and Chris, who were in charge of bait duty, ran towards us and shouted at the same time. I asked Nina and especially Chris-san to serve as scouts. Although he is a small human and can fight in the forefront, he is also very powerful, but this time I want him to use the excellent vision unique to his race to find the dragon in the unique fog of this floor. After many things happened between me and Lily, trying to steal the god's dagger, I already know that the vision of small humans still works in this fog floor. It is the task of the competent team leader Nina to secure a safe escape route. The two of them found the little dragon together and lured it here. Of course, the dragon is followed by other monsters such as orcs and little demons. Faced with a defeated opponent, the team's state remained unchanged. If you fight normally, you probably won't be able to stop the opponent's attack, but... Dark Thunder. In this hall, a large number of Reki-san's landmine magic were placed. When Chris and the others went to fish for monsters, we buried as many light magic explosives as possible in advance. Orcs and little monsters simply step on the hidden magic circle, which will trigger a dark flash and explode into pieces one after another. The baby dragon is indeed impossible to take down, but the front left foot that stepped on the mine was destroyed. Nina and Chris, as previously agreed, fled to both sides of the passage and went to a safe area in the corridor. Things are simple.